It's great to have mentors in this business. It's great to have people who believe in you, who have walked where you're trying to walk, who have done the things that you're trying to do and can guide you and advise you, who can to help you avoid the pitfalls, who can read your stuff if you're a writer, and who are a little bit ahead of you or a lot ahead of you if you're so lucky, and who can give you notes and give you advice and just basically guide you down the path of this entertainment business of ours, because it is not necessarily an easy business and there's no clear path. There's no clear road to success. There's no, if you do this and then you do that and then you do that, then you'll make it. There is none. There's nothing like that. It's not like going to business school, get your MBA, graduate, get a job, and work your way up the ladder. There's no go to college, go to law school, take the bar exam, get a job as an associate in a law firm, and work your way up to partner. It's just no clear path to success in this entertainment business of ours. Anybody who tells you that there is a clear path to success is lying. It's unpredictable. Everybody has their own story for how they made it. It's awesome to hear other people's stories. It's awesome to find out their path to success, how this person made it, how that person made it, how the other person made it. That doesn't mean that's how you're going to make it, because everybody has their own story and everybody has their own path. There is no best path, there's just your path. And you'll find your path as you try different things, which makes it maddening. Of course it makes it maddening, but it makes it fun because you're trying different things and you're learning every step along the way. And of course there are some guidelines, and having a mentor is helpful for those guidelines because they can kind of steer you in the right direction when you're going off the rails, or say, yes, you can take that path, but it might not lead you in the right direction. Or, as can happen, I have a couple of different mentors and I've seen both of them recently. And one of them said, I think you should do this. And I said that to the gal that I had lunch with today, and she was like, yeah, I don't think so. I think you're fine. I think doing exactly what you're doing is just fine. Keep doing what you're doing. But I'm tending to go with the gal that I met with today. Her attitude is a lot more positive than the other one, and you just have to kind of look at who the advice is coming from and their general view of the business and of life in general. But it also, I think, helps for you to mentor other people, because no matter where you are in this business, if you have done a little bit, if you've done a couple of student films or a couple of low-budget indies as an actor, if you have written a couple of screenplays, if you have optioned a couple of stories or screenplays out to somebody, if you have directed anything, you are now in a position to mentor somebody else who is just at the very beginning. Believe it or not, you may feel like, but I'm at the very beginning. There are people who really are more beginning than you. If you've done a couple of things, you have more experience than someone who's done nothing. Now, I know you guys look at me and you say, but you have so much experience. And I look at other people and say, but they have so much more experience than I do. I feel like I have so little compared to that. Everyone looks at where they're at and looks up and says, but they have so much more experience than I do. And yet there are always going to be people who are looking up to you saying, but you have more experience than I do. And that's always going to be the case as long as you've done something. As long as you're not a beginner in this business, you have more experience than somebody else. In which case, you can be a mentor to somebody else. And it's a beautiful thing to be a mentor to somebody else, because as you mentor somebody else, things in your own career start to crystallize and become more clear to you. As you start to see what other people are struggling with, it becomes more clear to you that, hey, you know what? I'm not struggling with those things anymore. I struggled with that once, but I'm not struggling with that anymore. And you realize the progress that you've made, which is kind of a nice thing, because we get stuck in our journey, and a lot of times we start feeling like, I'm not making any progress. I'm not going anywhere. I'm just treading water. Nothing's happening. Nothing has happened for me since blah blah time, in the last 6 weeks, in the last 3 months, in the last whatever. And you feel like you're in a slump, or you're in a straight line and you are not moving up, you're not moving forward, you're just kind of in a rut, and you're digging yourself deeper into this rut. You're like on the hamster wheel. You're going, but you're not going anywhere. It's just going around and around and around. And you're doing a lot of stuff, but it isn't actually moving. And what you don't often realize is you are moving. It's just hard because you're comparing yourself to people who are at tiers above you, or you're looking at many tiers above you. Those are where your goals are, and you're making incremental progress towards that, but you continue to look up and say, but I'm not any closer to where I want to be, instead of looking back and saying, oh, look how far I've come. Look back there. Look where I used to be 6 months ago, and look where I am now. Look how far I've come. You can't compare yourself. You don't want to ever compare yourself. Never compare yourself to anyone else. You only want to compare yourself to yourself. But what mentoring does for you, when you mentor someone else, what it helps you do is to see how far you've come, because you're giving to someone else who is not at your level, and you realize, oh, I'm not dealing with that anymore. Oh, I know that. Oh, I understand that now. I used to be at that level, and I'm not at that level anymore. I don't need that advice anymore because I already know that. And suddenly you're like, okay, so I have made progress in my career because I already know all this stuff that I'm helping this person with. So it gives you confidence that you are making progress in your career. You do know things. You have made strides towards where you want to go. All right, it's like a rocket. It takes 90% of the energy to get the rocket 1 inch off the ground. 1 inch off the ground. And then once it starts to lift, it's easier and easier and easier and easier and easier to get it up into the sky. And then, of course, it goes zooming into outer space. It's the hardest thing to get the boulder up the first few feet. And then once you get the momentum going, it's easier and easier and easier. And once you get it to the top of the hill, it's really easy to roll it down the other side. So yes, it's very slow starting. It takes a lot of work to get going. You have to meet a lot of people, network, get a team around you, get a lot of people to know who you are and what you can do. And that whole process takes quite some time. But once it starts to roll, work gets work. Yes, overnight success doesn't happen overnight. Overnight success takes at least 9 years to 10 years. And it's interesting when you see somebody who bursts onto the scene, and then you go back and see reruns of some TV show from 10 years ago, and it's like, oh, that's that actor. They're famous now, but they were working 10 years ago, 8 years ago, 5 years ago, 4 years ago, they were working in little co-stars, little small guest stars, here and there, here and there, here and there, little small parts in movies. You just didn't know who they were. They were working here and there, here and there. And that's how it goes. The momentum slowly builds. So take some acting classes and direct something. Write a piece for yourself to direct. Write a short or a little webisode and hire some actors and go out and direct it. Even just take your iPhone or a small camera and get some actor friends on a weekend and go out and direct a short little 2-minute piece. Just for experience, just to do it. It doesn't have to be anything fancy, just to get the experience of doing it and see how you do. Just start small. Don't start with your most precious project that you love dearly. Start small with something that doesn't mean anything to you so you get the hang of it and get the experience of doing it, and then work your way up. The next project, make it a little bit better, a little bit bigger, a little bit more involved, a little bit more scripted out, raise a little money, then shoot that. Make it a 2-day project instead of a 1-day project. Keep doing it. That's all I can say. Practice, practice, and more practice. Quality always rises to the top. They say cream rises to the top, quality rises to the top. So produce something of quality and something that you want to see. Cassian Elwes always told me he produces the kinds of movies that he wants to see, and I take that as a good mentorship. So that's my advice to you as a producer. Produce the kinds of things that you want to see, and if you want to see them, other people will want to see them too.